Karan, Sanjeev, pick a card.
We'll go with this one here.
Karan, what are you still trying to prove to yourself?
Wow,
That's a good
that
question.
is a good
That's
question.
a good question.
In any aspect of my life, or okay. That I think we can I guess separate out different segments of my life or different aspects of my life. I think in sport or in CrossFit, it would be to see if I'm actually as good as I think I can be, or I can or that I imagine or envision myself to be. So to prove that to myself more than doing it for anybody else, to actually prove myself right, to know that having a growth mindset, putting myself out there, putting the work in, and that will all pay off, and not limit myself by, genetics or having self-limiting thoughts and beliefs, to see what my body is capable of for as long as I can push in my, I guess, youth. That would be, I guess, there in my sporting or training wise. When it comes to other aspects of my life, it would be, I guess, it goes back, I guess, to the mission of Coastal. It's actually one of my personal values, like to be a good human being and actually leave the place better than I found it. To make a difference. Whether, like I said, when I interviewed with you, and is when I first joined here, I think for now, for the next decade of my life, I think I can make a difference through coaching and through training people. And that's what I'm trying to prove to myself, that I'm actually worth being on this planet and make a difference in people's lives. And yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to prove to myself, that I can make a difference.
Love it. My turn.
Let's go. Wait, you pick and then I ask, right? So let me take it.
Yeah.
I'll shuffle it up.
Oh, what part of your life works? What part of your life hurts?
Wow, these questions are deep.
Okay, what part of my life works? I think things off the top of my head that work right now. My intimate relationship at home is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate to have found an amazing person who feels just really right for me.
Yeah.
My family dynamic, it has been some journey up to this point, but I feel like we are clicking like we've never clicked before in a very positive way. My purpose, which is very much linked to my job, like you, and my career, is just every day I wake up and I just think how lucky I am to be doing this. And every night I go to bed and I look back on my day, I just can't believe that this is what I get to do. And I've been doing this for 15 years now, and every day is just as good as the last, and maybe even gets better. What part of my life hurts? I think the part of my life that I feel, when I think about hurt, I actually think about my physical body.
I was going there too.
Which is hurting a little bit right now. So I would say, I would actually say that is like a bit of frustration of mine, like having known what I used to be able to do. And, for someone who's had a lot of injuries, and I know that those injuries, rear their ugly heads every now and then. There's a part of me that often wonders what life would have been like had I not had all those injuries, those operations. I love sport and like athleticism so much. I guess another part of my life that I think about is, I guess it's like it's the opposite of hard work, which is like having more peace and quiet in my day. Which is I go back and forth on this a lot, because on one hand I love what I do so much and it doesn't feel like work. On the other hand, I wish I had more time to not do work.
Right.
Time to, be with my partner, if we have a child, to be with my child, to just have quiet time doing nothing. And so that's a part of my life that I sometimes feel, I guess it does hurt in a way, because like, how can I have more? I just sometimes want there to be more hours in the day, so I don't have to sacrifice things that I'm currently doing, but I can also have time for more. So I guess that's something I'm trying to figure out at the moment. But as of right now, I love my balance. Other parts of life that hurt, I think that's really it, to be honest. I feel like that's the one consistent thing I wrestle with quite a lot and
Yeah.
think about and try and think what I might want in my future and
Yeah.
what I can do about it.
To change your time
Yeah.
management and yeah. Solid answer.
Thank you. Thank you for participating in our cold opening.
That was a hard question. Yeah.
You are Mr. Karan Sanjeev. This is not your first time on the Process Podcast,
It's my third time. Yeah.
but this is your first time as a process programming coach.
That is true.
Since
Yeah.
so when you were last here, you were a member of the coaching team here at Coastal.
Yeah.
Had a few other responsibilities, but now you are a part of the process programming team. Tell us a little bit about what you do with the process programming.
I think it mainly revolves around what up. I have premium subscribers that I give weekly feedback to on their workouts, on their videos, interact with them on Instagram, have weekly calls with them. So it's working with athletes that are subscribed to our LPC program online, that follow the same program we run in classes here, and helping them through their fitness journey. And of course, being an ambassador for the process at whether it be athlete camps or competitions in the region, representing Coastal in the process and like making sure we're connecting with the communities wherever we go.
Yeah, I think for us, it's been really nice having you with the process. You were you had done so much, I think, to prove to everyone around you this is something you really wanted, and you had said that out loud. You know that you could see yourself wanting to be with the process, working with athletes, especially in the sport of CrossFit.
Yeah.
And you had done so much. Gone out of your own way to do a lot of things, especially around connection. I think bringing not just a process programming community together, but also the Coastal community and just like the wider affiliate community. You're really good at doing that, and you just have a lot of skill sets and a lot of passion for what we're doing. That it was just a no-brainer for us to bring you into it. So it's been lovely to have you here, Karan.
It's been great. Thank you.
Karan, what's been happening in your life recently?
What's been happening in my life recently? If I'm being perfectly honest, not too much. It's the usual. I wake up every day at 4 a.m. I come into the gym most days at 5:15. I have 3-4 hours of coaching. I'm very a creature of habit, routine. Eat before I come in, coach 3-4 hours, pre-workout snack, caffeine, train with the team, maybe another hour or two of coaching in the afternoon or meetings, train again with the PM crew, go to the sauna, go back home, eat dinner, a big dinner, talk to my parents, go to bed by 8, worst case 9 p.m. That's usually how my weekdays are. It's very routine, very monotonous. But I guess this year, what I'm trying to do is put myself out there a bit more in the dating market. So that's something that I'm trying to carve out time for. So that's something new, and that definitely takes away from my schedule and routine. Because which 28-year-old goes to bed at 8 p.m. and wakes up at 4 a.m. on a daily basis?
And look how I turned out.
I think it's a great life, to be honest, like 8 p.m., 4 a.m. But not a lot of people understand that. So
you recently put out some goals. And you put some goals out. We do monthly goal setting here at Coastal, but we also do yearly at the start of the year, or your big lofty goals for the year.
Yeah.
And I love that you decided to share your goals 2 places. Number one, on our community chat forum. So for all of our online subscribers around the world and our affiliates, you shared your goals there, and to prompt others to share theirs, which was awesome. And then you also shared it on our Coastal members group.
Yeah.
Would you be open to sharing what those goals are?
Of course, yeah. I think with the Coastal members, the chat group that we have on WhatsApp, I shared 4 goals. And then on the What Up with the wider process community, I shared 3 goals. We'll share the 4th one here as well. So the first 3 goals, the first one was finish top 10% in the CrossFit Open this year and try to break into the top 10 in India in terms of like in the CrossFit season. That's with the CrossFit season. And then later on in the year, I have a few regional competitions in mind. And last year was like my first year of taking part in competitions. And this year I want to podium in an individual competition. And I have a couple of competitions in mind where I believe I will be good enough to do that. That's my second goal, to podium in an individual competition. And my third goal is to go on a holiday or vacation that does not involve traveling for competitions or does not involve going home. I haven't traveled by myself or gone on holiday since pre-COVID, since 2019 December. So that's something that I want to do this year. And then these are three goals that I shared on the What Up Water Cooler. Then I shared a fourth goal within the team here at Coastal, and of course, and I put it out on the on the on the WhatsApp group. And that was to find a sustainable and repeatable girlfriend. Now, of course, we understand what that means, but it could be taken out of context when I say sustainable and repeatable. What I mean by that is to find a long-term girlfriend.
Mm.
Yeah.
What's the repeatable part?
Someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Not take it
Love
out of context, yeah.
Love it. So, this, when I asked you what's happening in your life recently and these goals, dating is something that is quite prevalent, or something that's on the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
Why? Why is that? Why are you at a point now where this is something you want to prioritize?
I think there are a few reasons here. There are external factors, and there's also internal motivation as well. The internal motivation is I think I've done the groundwork on myself since my last relationship. I've been single for 4 years now. I haven't been in a long-term or serious relationship before for the past 4 years, and in that time, I've worked on myself. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Like I'm trying to something that my parents always told me was, don't worry about finding the right girl. Become the most eligible bachelor and work on yourself. Become the person that you wanna be with or meet. And I believe in the law of attraction as well. So I've done a lot of groundwork, and I think internally, I believe I'm ready to now be in a long-term relationship, because I think when you are in a relationship, you have to give 100%. And I think for a very long time, I wasn't ready to be 100%. I don't think it's fair to the other person to not give 100%, whether it be being vulnerable or giving 100% of your time, energy, efforts. I think I'm at that place now. That's internal motivation. On the external side, I think it comes from there's definitely pressure from my parents. Indian society, by 28, a lot of my friends are getting married back home. A lot of them are starting to have kids. And I think around the age of 28 is when people start settling down in life. I don't like the term settling down, but there is external pressure or motivation as well from the outside world. But I'm trying to not let that influence me. And I want to make sure that I'm doing it for the right reasons for myself. And that's what I want to do.
When you said you took a few years to basically work on yourself, and I love that. During that time, was that an intentional decision that I'm not going to date, I'm going to focus on myself? So if that you're nodding your head to say yes, can I ask what confirmation have you received that you feel like you've done enough work now it's time to get out there and start dating again?
I don't think there's any definitive answer. I think I've shared this with you before, is when I had the breakup, I actually sat down with my ex at the time, and I asked her, like, what are the reasons as to why we're breaking up, what are the things that caused the breakup, or what were things that you would have liked to have changed in the relationship, or whether it be character flaws or personality flaws or stuff that I did, I guess, wrong in the relationship that caused us to go where we went. Obviously, I'm not going to take everything at face value. I'm going to have my own decision-making process and be like, oh, okay, this makes sense, and this actually will make me a better human being, a better person, a better partner for my next relationship. And I'm like, okay, I'm willing to change this. Certain things we didn't see eye to eye on. I'm like, no, I'm not going to change that, because that's who I am. That's what I want to be. That's who I want to, be in the future, whether it be that lifestyle or future vision for each other's lives. I think those things are not compromisable, and those things I won't change. A lot of self-work in the sense, like watching a lot of videos when it comes to like social dynamics, whether it be through YouTube or podcasts, or I'm not a huge fan of reading books. I try to consume content through videos and audio content, and just questioning beliefs that I've had for a very long time, and seeing whether it should I change those beliefs, or is it the right thing to continue living my life the way I do with those beliefs? And then setting myself up where I can provide for my future family, whether that be, girlfriend, kids in the future, so that I have to set myself up financially for that. So, thinking about that and setting myself up with whether revenue streams or having an idea for the future with my finances. And then, of course, physically, I want to be in good shape, but I don't think I'm doing my training for health right now. I think it's more performance driven and competitively driven. And then, of course, mentally and emotionally, a lot of work had to be done to be at a place where you're willing to be hurt again, or because you have to be vulnerable, you have to be 100% in terms of your time and energy. And for a very long time, I felt like I didn't want to open up. I didn't want to. I thought it would be like a sacrifice. I'm like, oh no, I like my life the way it is. I'm an only child, so I'm very comfortable being by myself, spending time alone, and I don't find that lonely. I'm quite entertaining. I like my own company. So I felt like it was a sacrifice. I'm like, oh, I don't want to, go out and do everything that I have to do to be now in a relationship and do the things that you have to do to be in a relationship, because it takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, it takes money as well. And I think for the last 3-4 years, I was not willing to do all of those things all over again. It's like starting from square one, starting all over again, and I wasn't ready to do that. And I think now I'm at a place where I'm like, I don't see it as a sacrifice anymore. I see it as it complementing my life. And I think that's very important, to find someone that complements your life and actually makes it easy, where you don't feel like it's a sacrifice and it's actually something you want to be with that person and you want to help build them up and they build you up. You have your own individual goals, and then you also have your goals as a couple. And that's the hard part of finding that someone, which is like finding a sustainable and repeatable girlfriend. Because in my eyes, I think I get I get the piss taken out of me of like, oh, you don't have a girlfriend. I think for me it's very easy to be in a relationship. I can be in a relationship if I want to in the last 3-4 years, but I know deep down I wouldn't be the right person. So if I'm in a relationship, I want to believe that it's with the right person that complements my life, and that's the hard part. So
So it sounds like in the last few years, I mean, and I've witnessed this and been a part of it, I think, there's been a lot of change,
yeah.
a lot of like self-questioning and ultimately a lot of growth. Where did you start? Like, how does one begin on their journey of growth and change? Like, what were some of the things that you did to help you
Mm.
become the person you are now?
The first thing that comes to my mind is time. It just takes time. For some people, it takes longer. For some people, I think it's a shorter time frame. You just have to take the time it takes to, I guess, heal or go through all the processes that you need to go through to become the person that you are now. And the second thing that comes to my mind is having people around you that question what you do and question your beliefs or principles and values. And I think I have that with you guys, with you and Ant, especially the two of you. I think you guys question me quite a bit. And in the moment, it's like, oh, I don't want to really think about these things. But then I go back and I'm like, I'm sitting in the sauna in my house, like listening to music. I'm like, oh, okay. And those questions nudge you to start then working on yourself or like explore that aspect. And I'm sure you can think of a few examples of like where we've had interventions here, about whatever it might be, insecurities. And that's got me to a place where there was a point in a time in my life where I had the mindset of like Idgaf, I call it. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And I like that side of me where I was so confident, where I didn't care what anyone thought or what anyone thinks. And I think
Can I just ask you on that, just to pause you? Did you genuinely not care about what anyone thinks? Surely there were some people that you still cared.
yeah, I mean, I'd say two people, my mom and dad. I care what my mom and dad thought. I care what their perspective, their opinions, their suggestions. I definitely cared what they said. But I think in the last 3-4 years, I got into a point where what other people were saying was definitely affecting my internal thoughts. And I finally feel now I've got to a point where I will take it in. I'll take everything in. And I think I still put a couple of people outside of my mom and dad. If I'm being completely honest, it's you and Ant. What you guys, I'd say like after my mom and dad, I think the two of you are the closest to me, and Skulk as well. And so to a certain extent, Tammy as well. Like, I put you guys on a pedestal, and sometimes it's like detrimental because Ant takes the piss out of me and gets under my skin. So so it's like I've put you guys on a pedestal where I've given you guys power, where I do take what you guys say back with me, and I think majority of the time it's for my own betterment, for my own good. And I think that's important too. rationalize, okay, they actually care. They care about you as a person. They want to see you do better and, be better and achieve your full potential. That's why they're saying it. And some other times, you can't let like banter get to you. You gotta like, okay, you can't care about this. And I think I'm finally getting back to that point where I don't care what people think or what people say, and I'm ready to put myself out there.
I think, from the outside looking in, I feel like it's because the banter in the past
Yeah.
was still touching a nerve. Like
Yeah.
it was touching some unresolved business,
Yeah.
or undealt with trauma.
Yeah.
And so even though the intention of the joke was, to have a laugh, and
Yeah.
it was not, and it was not at all in any way to put you down. But if you haven't dealt with whatever it is that the piss has been taken out of you from, then it's gonna hit different. And I think
100%.
you're
Yeah.
now at a point where you can laugh about that because
Yeah.
you put in the work yourself to know that actually that's not me, and therefore
Yeah.
there's no attachment to what's been said. Would you agree with that?
100%. Like, you asked me this question before where you asked me, oh, Karan, you're open to sharing certain things about your life in such detail, but there's certain things as well that you don't want to talk about and share. And that's exactly what that is, right? If you've dealt with whatever it might be, trauma or hurt, you've processed everything and you're okay with it now, you're more freely open to talk about it, laugh about it, and like you can take jokes and banter. But if you've not dealt with it and you just swept it under the rug, when someone brings it up, it triggers you. And then I don't think I lash out. I think I go quiet.
Yeah.
And Ant knows that now. Like, he knows when
He's pushed you
starts
too
to
far.
know. And his way
We all know, mate.
yeah.
But it's
yeah.
true. I can relate to that a lot. And I still come back to the quote that I've talked about so many times in this podcast, which is trust the triggers to teach.
Yeah.
Right? When you get triggered get triggered on something, it's something there. There is something that perhaps needs addressing, or, needs some time and energy put towards to resolve and understand.
Yeah.
And, one of the things in the last few years, one of the things that I always bite on, right? Like, I love taking the piss out of people. I love getting the piss taken out of me. But I wasn't always like that. I think, 10 years ago, I would have really struggled to be in this environment with people taking the piss out of me, because I would have just been too emotionally wired that I would have just fought back, fight fire with fire type thing. And in the last couple of years, one of those things I've been thinking about is, when people do take the piss, what are the things that actually trigger me? Why can I laugh about some things, and why there's some things that get me riled up? And so now I've been really thinking about that. When I do feel the trigger inside, like the need, the want to like bite and respond, I just catch myself now, take a breath, and I'm like, okay, why are you feeling this? What has just been said, or who's it been said by? Because that matters as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
True.
I think, the person who's dealing it, if your relationship is at a point where you have full trust that the intention is good, then you can accept a lot more. But when you don't have that yet, and people are, so I think people as well as the content is really important. But I do love the idea now. Like, I really exist in a place where I'm actually seeking those triggers.
Okay.
I'm looking for, what are the areas in my life that I still haven't resolved? Because I can sit here and say, I think I've pretty much resolved everything, except for one thing I could definitely say that in the cold opening was, there's still something around work.
Right.
There's something around work for me that I still haven't come to terms with. And I still think there is a part of me, even though it's nothing compared to what it used to be, that still places a lot of value on the work that I do and seeking validation from others because of it. Nowhere near as much, but there definitely is something there.
Yeah.
So if my like work and productivity gets questioned, that's something I can feel myself get instantly triggered by.
Right.
Previously, if it was like someone took the piss out of my work ethic or my dedication to training, I would have got triggered by that. Now it's like that's become the running joke at the gym, and I take the piss out of myself with it because it's so true. It's kind of pathetic. But yeah, I mean, I'm 100% living in an existence of seeking triggers, like, and then looking forward to it when I feel it and I sense it, and I get home that night and I think about it, and I'm like, okay, like there's some work that needs to be done here. Where do I start?
Okay, that's pretty cool, because I don't think I'm seeking trigger points or like looking out for it. But I'm definitely, once it does happen, I'm aware. I'm like, okay, why is this bothering me? And then I do the internal digging.
Do you sit this is something I do every day,
Yeah.
and I was just thinking about this the other day because I think I've done it for a long time, very unconsciously, I should say. But now I'm doing it a bit more consciously. Do you finish each day and look back on the whole day and try spot areas where you're happy or you feel successful, and there's areas of your day that you feel like you could have done better?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I do this every day. I have two opportunities in the day to do this. It's either in the sauna. I usually go to the sauna after now, at like around 5:30, 6 p.m. And I'm sitting there with my AirPods in, and I'm thinking about. So I
How
don't.
hot is your sauna, mate?
How's
How
how's
hot
hot
is your
my
sauna?
sauna? It's I want to say 60, 70 degrees.
Mate, my AirPods couldn't survive 70 degrees.
Really.
Yeah, I can't bring any technology in, otherwise it all
So I
just
leave
frazzles.
I leave my phone outside. But I take my AirPods in.
Maybe I'll give that a game.
I leave my phone outside and I take my AirPods in. So that's my opportunity one to. I don't divide into two things where okay, what are the things that I can improve in, or what are the things that went well or bad. It's just thoughts that I've had during the day that I want to resolve before going into the next day, or things that have bothered me, or stuff that I want to work on before I go to the next day, so it's not carried on to the next day. That's my opportunity number one. And if I don't do it then, or if I don't go to the sauna that day, then it's before I go to bed, I have my music on and I'm sitting in my apartment. I'm just thinking.
I'm really surprised that you can even think with that music you listen to.
Yeah, so it's not definitely not that music.
Are you sure?
100%. Yeah,
Because I've never heard you listen to anything else.
it's definitely calmer music in my sense. Probably not in your sense.
So it's basically EDM at 160 BPM instead
No,
of 180.
it's definitely not EDM. It's more Goo Goo Dolls and
Ah, classic. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Okay.
still do that. I think at least 20, 30 minutes a day I spend time with my thoughts. And before, it's actually a habit from my childhood. Like if you ask my mom and dad, I used to pace up and down my house, just thinking, whatever it might be. And that's how I just worked through my emotions and my thoughts. And then that went into sports. Like when I went swimming and running, that's how I processed my thoughts and emotions. And then I started going to the gym. Before it was performance based, it was, your bro power building sessions. Between each set, I'm just thinking, and that's how I process my thoughts and emotions. And now it's, during the sauna or before I go to bed, I'm at home with music. So yeah,
Love it. Karan,
Yeah.
I was surprised when I asked you what's been happening in your life recently. You didn't talk about the one big thing that's happening in a few weeks, because I feel like, you dedicate a lot of time and energy towards this, which I love.
Yeah.
As do I. But CrossFit Open's coming up.
Yes, it is. We are 3 weeks away.
By the time this comes out, I think we're going to be 2 to 3 weeks out for the CrossFit
Yeah.
Open. And I want to just talk about the CrossFit Open now, because this is going to be the second Open that I have done with you. I believe third maybe?
Open. It's my third
Okay,
open.
But the one, like, as a team member,
That
it's
is
the second
true.
that we've done together.
It would be our third together, but the
First
first
one's a pandemic.
one was a pandemic, and I did one of the workouts back home.
That's right.
And our second workout was, doing it outside here. Yeah, it was. You could count that, not count that, but yeah.
Okay. So this will be CrossFit Open number
3 for me.
3 for you.
Mhm.
What's your goal this year? You've said already.
Yeah.
Top 10%.
Yeah, top 10%.
Now, that's because you want to make it to quarterfinals, right?
Correct.
Which is 25%. So
Correct.
where does this 10 come from?
So the last 2 years, 3 years? Yeah, 3
Yeah,
years.
every year,
3 years.
yeah,
3
so
years.
far.
3 years we've had quarterfinals, right? The last 3 years, the cutoff was top 10%, and this year they've made it top 25%. And it's definitely, and taking the piss and saying, oh, it's top 25%, you have to make it. But it's also for me to prove to myself that if it was still the old system, I would still be quarterfinal worthy. I feel like making it top 25% takes away from, the people that are in the top 10%. It's not as valuable anymore, or it's like anything worth having, there's a hard road or journey to it. I'm not saying being top 25% is not hard, but it's definitely
Kind of devalues
the top,
those who
yeah,
make it these days. Yeah.
100%. But I see why they're doing it.
Yep.
You're going to have a lot more people get through, which means a lot more people paying quarterfinal fees. A lot more people being like, oh, they're excited now. Oh, I can do the quarterfinals as well. And I also think from, a gym perspective, although it's going to be chaotic on our end organizing it, I think that it's cool because
We get to basically have two opens.
yeah, we're gonna have a lot of our members make it to the quarterfinals, and it's gonna be 4 or 5 days of basically an athlete camp or like a competition in house. So I think that's quite exciting. So there are pros and cons to it, and either way, for me, I'm attacking this as though it's top 10%. Touch wood. Either way, if I'm top 11%, I'm still going to do the quarterfinals. So yeah.
Okay. So reflecting back from this year to last year, because I think when I look at you, Karan, I see an incredible amount of growth. I see a lot of growth as a person, and a lot of that growth as a person has had a knock-on effect to Karan, the athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you, first question: how has your training in the lead up to the CrossFit Open changed this year compared to last year?
I've made it a point to do every Saturday tester. I don't think I've missed a Saturday tester in the last 365 days.
When did you make that? When did you make that commitment?
After the quarterfinals last year.
I made that commitment too.
How's it going?
About 5.
Well, hey, I mean, you said 1 month now. Every Friday you're going to be doing the Saturday tester, and you've put in the work. You've put in 10, 12 years off this, so you don't need to be doing it 365 days.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, so every Saturday tester, and you've done that for a whole year so far.
Yes, unless of course I've had qualifiers or I've had competitions or I'm coming off of a competition. There might have been 1 or 2 weekends here or there, but I've done like hard workouts every weekend. So that was one thing. The next thing is
can I just stop you there? How do you think that's gonna serve you as you move into the Open and the quarterfinals now?
Just experience. The more workouts you do, I think you build awareness with your strengths, weaknesses, your abilities. Exposes you, pacing awareness. I'm just 3 years into this journey of CrossFit, and I still consider myself a newbie, and I'm still every workout. I still get pacing wrong. I still get strategies wrong. So I guess the more workouts you get under your belt, the more movement variants or like movement combinations, different rep schemes or different workouts that you do. It just adds to your toolbox, and then you can always refer back to that. And outside of that, it also gives you feedback, like I said, your strengths, weaknesses, and then you know what you need to be working on. And you can approach your training sessions with a bit more intention and focus. Like, okay, that workout went bad. Why did it go bad? Okay, that was the bottleneck. Okay, why was that a bottleneck? Because you need to isolate that movement and work on that movement a bit more.
Okay, so Saturdays every Saturday for a year.
Yeah.
What else? What else has changed?
I've done a lot of qualifiers. A lot of in-person competitions, and that has definitely, I feel like I've leveled up with each qualifier that I've done, with each competition that I've done. I feel like I'm leveling up, whether that be physically or mentally. I think that's added another level to my game.
In what sense?
With qualifiers, it's basically open style workouts. You got to record yourself. You got to take yourself through the process of like warming up, coming up with a strategy. Some qualifiers, I've redone them as well. So coming up with a new strategy after reviewing your footage. So you're basically going through the whole open procedure of, dialing in your warm up, having a set time to starting, recording your workout. Okay, strategy didn't go well. I did a few redos. Come up with a new strategy, record the videos, upload the videos on YouTube. So it's basically the entire process. That's with the qualifiers. And then with in-person competitions, that's a great practice for quarterfinals, because you have 2-3 days of 2-3 events each day. So it's multiple events over multiple days, just the volume. And then just going through the process of like mentally, how your mood, your mindset, your thoughts fluctuate over the 2-3 days. It's easy to say theoretically, but until you go through it, you can't really experience that, and you have to go through it yourself. And then, of course, with your nutrition, that's something that I learned over October with AFC and Callus Games, where, what you have in the morning and night, what you have in between events.
Chocolate pancakes.
Yes. You just need the carbs. But yeah, I think with nutrition, with mindset, and once again, you're doing more workouts, you're getting exposure to different movements, because your open style workouts are different than your quarterfinal workouts, the movements that you see in the quarterfinals. And of course, the movements that you see in in-person competitions are also different, or the tests that you can see will be different as well. So just just more experience, just going to get more awareness and expose yourself a bit more.
Do you prefer online style competitions or in person?
I think I prefer in-person competitions. A few reasons for that. I think with the elite training, the elite track, I think that's more geared towards in-person competitions with the movements that we see, or the complexes, or just the variance. I feel like I'm more prepared for those kind of comps. Not to say that I'm not prepared for the open. I am prepared for the open as well. And just the volume. I feel like I'm resilient. I feel like I can handle volume, multiple workouts over multiple days. My body can sustain that. So I think I can outlast more people over a few days, over multiple events. So I prefer in-person competitions.
Okay, so Saturday testers, in-person comps. What else has changed?
I've been full-time on the elite track, which means I've done the AM and PM sessions. I wouldn't say for the whole year, for majority of the year. There was a period of time where in the morning sessions, I was doing weightlifting, purely weightlifting, because I still believe that's my relative weakness compared to other aspects of the sport. So just my volume has increased and stayed consistent. And I feel like my training volume is now matching, or where it should be, with the intended stimulus. The year before, when I joined the evening crew or the PM crew with Ant, I was doing what he was doing, but the stimulus was just very different. I just wanted to do what he was doing, and it wasn't like, there were times I was just staring at the handstand mat and doing singles on handstand push-ups, and it was just horrible. So I feel like the stimulus is now matching the training volume, and it's been more consistent, as in I think my overall training volume has increased. So just more frequency, which allows for more time to work on so many of the different skills that we have in CrossFit.
Yeah, and I think just with the fact that you're another year into it.
Yeah.
So you just accumulated so much more experience, technique has improved, confidence, awareness, knowledge.
Yeah.
And because of all that, your training is just constantly leveling up.
Yeah.
When you say your training is matching the volume, do you mean that you can more appropriately handle what's written on the elite program now, right? Get the intended response.
Yeah. And I'm making more necessary changes to it versus just doing what's given. And making sure that I'm actually getting the right stimulus from that workout versus just doing what's prescribed.
Can I ask, when you're training in a competitive environment?
Yeah.
And I think our morning and afternoon crew is a pretty competitive environment, as in, like, there's a lot of athletic people all training, doing the same program. How often are you trying to beat the people you're training with?
That was honestly, that's something that I was thinking about half an hour ago. It's really hard when you finish fourth in every workout that you do, and finish fourth out of 4 people. So I finished last every single time, most of the times. There might be one odd day where I beat Skulk in a workout, but that's very rare. There are benefits, there are pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
The pros to that is that when you're training with people that are better than you, you're just forced to level up. You're forced to get better. When you're the weakest link, you're going to be pushed to be better. That's the pro. You don't want to be coming first with the people that you train around. If you're always coming first, then you're not going to grow as much, versus the person that's coming third and fourth. You're going to grow more when you're training with people who are better than you. That's the pro. The con is sometimes it is a bit demotivating, and that's something that I'm trying to work on with my mindset, because I think I break mentally when I see Ant, Adele, Skulk, whenever when they finish and I'm still going. I think my pace slows down, versus if I do that same workout by myself with no one around me, or if I do that same workout,
you're beating someone,
but I'm beating someone, I'm actually able to push more and get a way better time, way better or a little better, just better performance, better result than when I train, with them. And I know I'm going to come fourth, I'm going to come last. It slows me down, and that's something that annoys me, because I want to not break mentally and actually not let what's happening around me influence my performance and my output and the result.
Can I ask you, when you're going into these workouts,
Yeah,
are you setting the intention before to beat one of them or to hope to beat someone?
No.
No, their internal. Yeah.
I'd say like most workouts, I'm staying in my own lane.
So you have your own intention, your own focus
Yeah.
of the workout, and
Yeah.
it's got nothing to do with where you finish
Yeah.
relative to the other three.
Yeah, I've actually stopped looking at the leaderboard. There was something in the past. I don't know how long ago, but I used to look at the leaderboard before I went into any Saturday test or any workout, any ward. I used to look at the leaderboard and then base my strategy off of like who people that I think are near me, and
Me.
then no, not you,
Not yet.
not yet. The gap is
Gap's
closing though. The gap is closing. But I don't do that anymore.
Why?
Just because I don't think you should be basing your strategy off of other people's times, because everyone's different. They have their own strengths and weaknesses, and there's a time and place for it.
I agree.
But not in training, not in training setting. And then there are certain workouts that I do want to get certain people, where I believe that's my strength, that's your weakness. I'm like, I can potentially get you here, and I do try to get them there, and that really depends on, I guess, where I'm at mentally, and how much I have to give physically. But that's very rare. I'd say like 5-10% of the times when I'm like, okay, I actually want to get this person in this workout.
Yeah, it is a very good point that you make. There are pros and cons to all of it.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately then the important training environment to try and create is one where you get to experience all of that. Sometimes you get to experience being the lead and winning, sometimes also receiving your slice of humble pie, and coming last, being middle of the pack. Because when it comes to competitive racing, which is essentially what happens in-person competitions, it part of it is a game of understanding where you sit within the race.
Yeah.
Online competition is very different because it's just you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Unless you might have the opportunity to do things like open workouts next to 10 other people in the room, but at the end of the day, you're not competing against those 10 others. You're competing against 200,000 people who've done the same workout around the world. But in a competition, you're only competing against 10, 20, 30 athletes in your division. And so having some awareness of knowing where you are and what's needed at what point in the workout is a skill that has to be practiced. So yeah, you raise a really good point there, which is nice to hear, that actually being humbled all the time, whilst it's great, can be really demoralizing
sometimes,
as well.
Yeah. So you just need to know when to push and when to, know your place, I guess. Yeah.
Is there anything else that's changed in your training approach?
I was actually just thinking, and a point came up, but it's not to do with training. It's outside the gym. I've been very consistent with my nutrition. I've finally gone up in weight. I'm at 74 and I've stabilized there. Something that was definitely the theme of 2023 was I was falling sick and losing weight. And I've dipped below 70 like 2-3 times in 2023, where I hit the low of 67 kilos. I hit 69 as well. I also cut weight to make weight for a powerlifting comp. So I've hit below 70. So my food has been consistent in terms of like the volume or the calories that I get in. And then my sleep has been more consistent than last year. It's not perfect, but there are days where I get 6 hours, 7 hours. That's usually after the rest day, because I end up messing up my sleep cycle by having a nap in the afternoon. But it's been much better. There are more days, like about 4 to 6 days a week, where I'm getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which is very different to previous years. And just the amount of time that I have dedicate towards like just massage gun at home, sauna.
And then can I ask you, because everyone says that that's important. I mean, I obviously know how important that is, and I've experienced it, and know the science behind why that's important. But what have you noticed since you've really started focusing on your nutrition and focusing on sleep and recovery? What physical differences or have you noticed in just life and training?
So one thing that I used to do before in the past was, so I coached the early morning classes of clients. So I used to rush to work, not have breakfast. Something I make sure is I'm having overnight oats, or I've ordered food from the previous night, where it's like I have rice and some protein like beef, chicken, or pork. I have that, or I come here at like 4:55, 5, and I'm having that here before my 5:15. And that sustains me through the 3-4 hours of coaching, and I have more energy, versus what I used to do was I'd get here, empty stomach, wait till 9:15, maybe have a carb shake while I'm coaching. And then at 9:15, 9:30, I'd start having my cereal or oats or granola, whatever it might be, before training. Now I've already had something at 5:15, and again at like 9:30, 10, I'm having either carbs or cereal or granola. That just gives me a lot more energy, calories in my system to get through the day. And then dinner, I'm eating like 2 meals, which then keeps me full throughout the night, and of course gives me the resources to recover from the day of training and work and coaching. And then sauna, I feel like it's a game changer. I feel like I have, especially when you get to Wednesday, which is today, I feel like a dip in energy. I think that's normal, given our training schedule where you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I feel like when I do sauna on a Monday and a Tuesday, I feel like I have more to give on Wednesday sessions versus when I don't do it on a Monday and a Tuesday and I get to a Wednesday, I feel like I have inflammation, joints are sore, energy, mood is low, my sleep is not as good. And then watching my caffeine intake as well before I know it affects my sleep. Like I wake up in the middle of the night and I find it hard to go back to sleep. Something I do now as well is put my phone on do not disturb so I don't check my phone for messages and I stay up. I'm not doing that now. So just my sleep quality has improved.
You listen to Kobe motivational speeches at midnight still?
Yeah. No, just before competitions, probably before the Open.
Nice.
I actually do, that's a lie. I listen to David Goggins or someone that I look up to. I have that on like a low volume while I fall asleep. And I put like a sleep timer on my phone. So around 7:30, 8:30 before I sleep, I put a sleep timer of like 20, 30 minutes and there's a podcast playing in the background.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Reason?
It helps me fall asleep.
Doesn't get you fired up. Doesn't do the opposite.
No.
I can envision listening to something really motivational, powerful, getting me really fired up and doing the opposite.
I think there's definitely something to think about there for me. I don't know. I feel for a very long time, I've had a bad habit of like watching something or having music on and trying to fall asleep with it. It's from school days. Like my father used to scream at me for it because I used to have my iPod and my AirPods in and sleep with like really loud music. It's like, what's wrong with you? But that's changed now to like podcasts or like more mellow stuff on a lower volume. Something it's definitely. I don't think it's good, but it helps me fall asleep.
Well, you know, when myself and Ant were growing up,
Yeah.
when we used to share a room, so this was probably up until the point where I was about 10 and he was about 8, we would always fall asleep. Our parents would always put on a like Roald Dahl. Do you know Roald Dahl? He's a kid's author.
Yeah.
So we'd put on like a Roald Dahl audio tape on a cassette.
Yeah.
And so every night we'd probably have like 30 different stories, and we just rotate every single night, and we would always fall asleep to a cassette, a story. And then I noticed when I moved into my own room, that was no longer a thing. I found it really hard to fall asleep because I became so reliant on that.
Yeah.
But then in my teens, I basically said to myself, right, I'm just gonna cut this.
Yeah.
Actually, in my teens, I didn't really sleep, to be honest, because got really into Counter-Strike, MSN Messenger, ICQ, like all that shit.
Yeah.
I think back to those times now, and I reckon I could be 10 kilograms heavier. I could basically look like Ant if I hadn't gotten into that stuff and actually slept an extra 3 hours a night. The two things I think about: number one, if I hadn't done that shit and I actually slept, you know, like at least 7 to 8 hours a night, I'd be way bigger, way more jacked, way more athletic, way less injury prone. Number two, if I wasn't so obsessed with football at lunchtime, I would have actually eaten my lunch. And there was probably, like, we just talked about this in the team the other day. I reckon there was about 5 years where I didn't eat lunch.
Wow. Okay.
And I would get home. So what would happen is I'd skip lunch because it's either football or lunch. Obviously football.
Yeah.
Finish your last period at school.
Yeah.
Finish school. Be so starving. By this point, I'm like, my sandwich is horrible now.
Yeah.
Don't want to have my sandwich anymore. So then I go to the tuck shop, buy crap. You know, like crisps, ice cream, pot noodles, hot dogs, whatever was like basically going for cheap at the end of the day because I had to get rid of everything.
Yeah.
And then I would get home and then realize my sandwich was still in my lunchbox. And if my mum or my helper finds out that there's still a sandwich in there, like I'm getting spanked.
Yeah.
So for a while, like I tried to throw it away in the bin and they'd always find it. They'd be like, why is your school sandwich in the bin? You're not eating lunch again. I'm like, shit. So then I would like try remember to throw away my sandwich before I got into my home building. But sometimes I would forget.
Yeah.
So I'd be in my room, unpacking my bag, be like, shit, sandwich is still here. So for a while, I started opening up my bathroom window and putting my sandwiches on the windowsill.
Oh,
no, I didn't throw it because it was like 15 floors up. So I'm like, if this lands on someone, even the soft sandwich might do some damage.
Yeah.
So I basically would put these sandwiches on my windowsill and hope that the pigeons would eat them. And so at one point, I must have had like 15 sandwiches stacked up on my windowsill. And the pigeons weren't eating them. Even the pigeons were like, nah, mate, this is old. I'm not having this. And then, yeah, mum found it and still got spanked.
No.
Yeah. But anyway, reflecting back, kids, like parents make your kids
Should've
sleep and eat your lunch.
More.
Yeah. Karan, that's all about your training that's changed in the last year.
Yeah.
You've already alluded to a lot of the growth that's changed, that's happened in your life as a person. But what would you say what's the biggest thing that's changed with Karan, the person, comparing yourself to last year?
I think I'm starting to accept myself more, and I think love myself for who I am. I think I hold myself to very high standards in a lot of aspects of my life, and I think that's good in a way, because you're self-critiquing yourself or whatever insecurities you might have. I think it's good because you're always looking to grow and be better, and like you're chasing perfection. But I also think at it's also detrimental at some point, where you wouldn't expect that of anybody else. Whether it be with like relationships in your life, whether it be with training. Like I would never say certain things to a client, and you and have asked me a number of times, like, why are you doing this when you wouldn't tell your client to do that? Because I just like, oh, okay, I can expect more of myself. I can do this. That's just an example in training, but that's also with other aspects of my life as well, whether it be like loving the flaws or just accepting myself for who I am, and just being comfortable in my own skin. That's something I'm still working on. Yeah.
You and I both, my friend.
Yeah.
Karan, we're going to wrap this up with some quick fire questions.
Let's do this.
Now, quick fire means quick fire.
Okay, I'm going to try my best.
If it makes you feel better, I'm terrible at quick fire questions, but I have a feeling you're going to be better than me.
Okay.
All right, so don't put too much thought in this, just the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay. Is this with the open or just random?
Well, let's see.
Okay.
Question number 1. Snatch or clean and jerk?
Clean and jerk.
Question number 2. Back squat or deadlift?
Come on, Ed. Elite Hinger. 3x bodyweight deadlift. 210 kgs. Going
Mate,
for 500 pounds
answers,
this year.
mate.
Gotta let the viewers know.
Next one. Dogs or cats?
Dogs. I love dogs.
Next one. If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? C4.
And food. Food. Chicken and rice. Like I'm not about taste. I'm like very
chicken
monotonous.
breast, chicken thigh, skin on, skin off.
Does it have to be specific?
This is my own interest now.
I don't really mind.
So you would eat just a chicken breast and rice?
Yeah, with
Fair
obviously
play.
some flavor. Yeah.
Nice.
Chicken and rice.
What's your favorite song?
What, right now or all time?
All time favorite song?
All time. Goo Goo Dolls, Iris.
Unfortunately, I have to listen to it every day. YouTube or Instagram?
At the moment, YouTube, because I'm trying to stay off Instagram as much as I can. Yeah.
Summer or winter?
Ooh. Winter.
That's weird. If you had to describe yourself as a flavor of ice cream, what would it be?
Flavor of ice cream. Chocolate. Nothing to do with my skin color.
Why? Why chocolate then? Pause. Quick fire. Expansion. Go. Why chocolate?
I just like anything chocolate. I
Nice.
like the flavor. Yeah.
Skulk or ant?
Oh, that's a hard question. You can't do that to me. Can't do that
Quick
to
fire.
me. I have to pick ant. Sorry, Scott.
Let's make this one a snippet, please. One person you want to beat in this year's CrossFit Open.
I don't know if I can say this out here. Nick Taylor.
Yeah. There's something on the line there. That makes
Something on the
sense.
line there. Yeah.
Karan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me again, mate.
Thank you.
Always love our conversations and very, very happy to have you on the process programming team.
Likewise, Ed. Thank you so much. Yo.